And here's another one by Tucker Carlson that people need to pay close attention to. This one is even more important as well as the launching pad that Joe Biden has opened up for every single enemy that America has to come through that border, or even be setting up in Australia and also Brazil and South America as a whole. So we're being surrounded from the outside and invaded, as well as the open border has done in the inside. This is why you're seeing many Chinese people in our hospitals, and many of them have been on the TV as the top director in their CDC bull is Chinese again. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to Hollywood and even Disney World and these other people in the deep state bullshit that they do. But we also beginning to see the Gestapo movement of the United States under the Joe Biden. Same thing Nixon did when Nixon created the plumbers, and he was plumbing motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? He created the plumbers. You know what I mean? So we know for well LBJ, all of them have done many crooked things in this government to switch this government into a Nazism, neo-Nazism type, you know what I'm saying, racist government. And we as the people, we have to fight against these things. So here's another one by Tucker Carlson, and without further ado, let's go to it.
Called Steve Friend came forward to blow the whistle on what he has seen happen to the FBI under Joe Biden. And what he said was shocking.
Interesting.
According to Agent Friend, Biden's FBI routinely uses heavily armed SWAT teams to raid the homes of American citizens who dare to criticize the administration. Now, to be clear, these are people who pose no danger to anyone. These are people who haven't even been accused, much less convicted, of a violent crime. So the point is not to bring justice. The point is to terrify and intimidate Joe Biden's political opponents. Hard to believe that's happening, but it is. Last year, to name just one example, the FBI's counterterrorism division raided the home of a 69-year-old Red Cross volunteer called Joseph Bolanos. An anonymous snitch had claimed that Bolanos was at the Capitol on January 6th. Not that he did anything violent, but that he was there. And turns out that wasn't even true. It was a lie. But the feds moved forward and destroyed Bolanos' life anyway. They showed up with guns, they stole his electronic devices, and they refused to return them. The whole experience was so traumatic that Joseph Bolanos suffered 2 strokes. Well, on September 19th, the FBI suspended Agent Steve Friend for daring to reveal what was happening, these abuses. Now, it's illegal under federal law to punish whistleblowers, but the FBI did it anyway. And then, 4 days later, with Friend out of the way, on the morning of September 23rd, a team of nearly 30 FBI agents bristling with automatic weapons raided the home of yet another harmless man with no criminal record. That man's name was Mark Houck. Houck is 47. He's a leader in his local Catholic community. FBI agents pointed rifles at Houck and his wife in front of their 7 children. Once again, to be clear, Houck is not a terrorist. He's never been accused of terrorism. He is instead a pro-lifer. Houck founded an organization called the King's Men. It's a pro-life group that encourages men to be leaders in their communities. Now, to give you a sense of who Houck is, we want to play this for you. Here he is describing the experience he had earlier this year praying outside an abortion clinic with his son.
Okay. Attention seniors over 50, you could be entitled to this new $40,000 relief benefit, but no one is going to... Okay.
A woman came out who had an abortion, and we offered her some post-abortion healing. And, well, we just said, we'll pray for you. And as we were praying, the Sorrowful Mistress, I brought my son over. I said, come on, let's kneel down. We're going to do this, and we're going to leave. She got into it. She started attacking us personally. While we were praying, the Sorrowful Mistress, I said, son, this is what the Lord's talking about when he said they hated me, they're going to hate you. They persecuted me, they're going to persecute. I whispered this to him as she was spewing all this vulgarity onto him and me. And, I just told him, this is what it's going to take. This is what we have to do. This is part of the journey.
So that's Mark Houck. Now, he's a religious man. Not everyone is a religious person. Not everyone agrees with Mark Houck. But there's no doubt that Mark Houck is a peaceful, is a nonviolent person. In October of last year, Houck was standing outside another abortion clinic in Pennsylvania. He was joined again by his 12-year-old son. That's when a man approached and began harassing the boy. So to defend his son, Houck pushed the extremist back. That was it. Local police looked into it. The district attorney's office looked into it. Nobody pressed charges against Mark Houck because it's not assault to protect your son from an extremist who's attacking him. But the Biden Justice Department decided to revise this view, and they charged Mark Houck with a federal crime, a felony, obstructing abortion access. There was no evidence that he had obstructed abortion access, but that's what they charged him with. Now, Houck learned about 3 months ago that the DOJ planned to charge him, and he offered to turn himself in voluntarily. That's what a civilized country allows. But that wasn't good enough for Merrick Garland's DOJ. They wanted to punish him and terrify his family, to send the right message to anyone who would dare get in the way of the Biden agenda. So the DOJ sent a team of federal agents with rifles to Houck's home. He now faces 11 years in prison for protecting his son. Now, again, it's hard to believe that any of that actually happened, but it actually did. And to confirm it, we are joined now by Mark Houck's wife, Ryan Marie Houck. She was there when the FBI raided her home and took her husband away. Mrs. Houck, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us and I should say you're also joined by your attorney, whom we're grateful to have. But first, Mrs. Houck, what was this experience like for you and for your children?
It was devastating. I mean, it's just, you can imagine it's hard to even express the victimization and, how traumatized we all are due to this unnecessary thing that happened to us, so.
How many FBI agents, it's hard even to imagine, given that neither you nor your husband nor any of your 7 children have been charged with a violent crime or accused of violence. How many FBI agents with guns would you estimate showed up at your house?
It had to have been 20, 25, 30. I mean, we have a large property. My entire front yard, you could barely see it. It was covered with at least 15 big trucks and cars, and there were, like I said, 20, 25, 30 men, women, completely in jackets with shields and helmets and guns, and they were behind cars. It was, something I never would expect to see on my front lawn. It was crazy.
Tigers and bears.
Yeah, maybe in China or Venezuela. Peter Breen is your attorney, and we're happy that you're here, Mr. Breen. Have you ever seen anything like this, ever, in this country?
Not at all. This is reckless and outrageous. It put the Houck family in unnecessary danger. And it was the sort of thing that when we've offered to bring him in, didn't get a response. And not just, even if you're going to arrest a regular person, you just send a couple agents, they knock on the door, not dragging the head of the family out, violating the sanctity of the home, pointing guns at them. This was outrageous and uncalled for.
Were we right in saying that local authorities had assessed the altercation between Mr. Houck and the extremist who attacked his son and decided not to press charges against anyone? Is that correct?
The Philadelphia DA refused to press charges, and he's not a friend of pro-life. He's a Soros ally. Then the alleged victim filed a private...
Now, what we've seen and what's going on, in more ways than one, I'm going to explain again, that the Biden administration has opened up every door, set up every plan in play, and they have been using biological weaponry against the American people who are unaware, unknown, don't really understand, just common, regular people going to work, going home, doing what they're doing. He has opened up the door for an invasion on the common people of the United States, under the banner of them doing all the wicked shit that they have done all across the planet for many, many years, and Creed Joe Joe Biden, no more than a nutcase, twisted, bald head, bump head freak from the Zionist group, along with Antifa Fauci, the murderous weasel, you know what I'm saying, the genocidal fucking Igor mad doctor, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, and many others have involved themselves in so much criminality in this country that now we have truly seen how what Tucker Carlson was talking about, saying that, you know, they even over there trying to buy up on and control Brazil under their rule, so they'll have a launching pad coming from that direction, you know what I'm saying, South America, you know what I'm saying, they could build a huge military launching pad over there and much more. We have to start to pay attention to this situation because this is a bad one. And even when you look at their building launching pads over there in Australia, you know what I'm saying, they will use heavy weaponry, as you've seen that in Netanyahu is doing to the Palestinian people. He's using bombs, rockets, airplanes, F-16, X-19, supersonic jets, and, you know what I'm saying, and Biden sent over aircraft carriers that could sit out in the ocean and bomb the people for days and days and days, just like you saw during the Beirut War and many wars with the Bush family over there bombing the people, and all you saw for 3 and 4 or 5 days is rockets after rockets after rockets, like no break in between, just bombing, all night long, bombing. This is the way these aircraft carriers have eaten up weaponry that they could bomb you for probably 40 days, you know what I'm saying, straight bombing, you know what I mean? And this is what we saw, the sky lit up all night long, all night long, bombing, this bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And this is what they're doing to the Gazan people in all ways, destroying the schools, murdering off the people, and this and that. Now you have truly seen the deep state evil, mathematical, Luciferian world in which they have been moving into your government and governments across the planet through the NATO Alliance, Bull Criminal Organization, and many other organizations under Zionist rule and Zionist control, and even many of these other groups, Chinese, Arabs, and so on. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who made this bullshit, pandemical medicine that they shoved up in everybody's nose and arms and in no ways and one. You know what I'm saying? They had a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Even the Arabians, I believe, and Arabs and all of them have a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? But now you're seeing how he has been in bed with every enemy that wants to destroy the American way of life, the American freedom that we share, and all this shit, and have been doing for many, many years. You know what I'm saying? That's why you always see everybody else opening stores these days, but you don't see many Americans doing it, and especially even in the black community. They're too busy on some other shit, and many who did it don't even really sometimes get noticed unless, you know, it is noticed. You know what I'm saying? But we need to start to form a lead and other coalition in our strength in our group against this type of tyranny that's in our government, that has been destroying our government for far too long. You know what I'm saying? And we know full well that Trump was on the right path because he has exposed every single one of them to the highest of their ability. You know what I'm saying? Even Creep Joe. Creep Joe just wanted revenge because his ass was a fucking clown all the way back when he first got into government. They were clowning his silly ass then. Talking about he was in the army, he was in the air Force, lying his ass up. No, he ain't want nothing but a butternut punk. You know what I'm saying? That probably came from East Hampton or Long Island or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That he would nothing but a butternut punk doing butternut shit. You know what I'm saying? Probably drinking and washing in the blood as well. You know what I'm saying? Pedophilia, nastiness, and table rituals and bullshit, nonsense. Because we know for well who the Bible was written by. It's a Freemason Bible. You know what I'm saying? And you stole a lot of things from Africa, you brought it here, you know what I'm saying? And then you did rituals on yourself to bring forth this, but you couldn't do it even back then. Before that, you couldn't even driven the people to follow it anyway. That's just why you had crusaders going across crucifying the people. You know what I'm saying? Talking about a crucifix. You know what I'm saying? Jesus was crucified and all this lying and shit. You were going across crucifying, the African people and the architects of this here planet and our ancestors, so you can violently take away from them all their stuff and then call yourself, putting a ritual on yourself and making yourself a god, and then and then you went on to beat and kill everybody else along the way and all across the planet, doing this bullshit and giving them this wicked Luciferian book that you call a biblical Bible, you know what I'm saying, and many other plots. But now we see now they are in bed with all our enemies and have opened every door and have set up every plan. What is the Chinese doing over in Brazil, building airports and talking about they're building infrastructure when they're not building infrastructure. They're building military base and military airports and shit. And then they over there eating up South America, buying up everything, doing everything, controlling South America all the way down to Brazil. What are they doing there? You know what I'm saying? And then Brazil is where in South America, where the southern border comes into play. So now we see a whole lot of the bullshit and exactly what Biden is doing, because he wants revenge for everybody clowning his silly dumb ass the whole entire time of his life, talking about he's this and a that. You know what I'm saying? People talking about he is this and he is that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't no more than a clown to me. You know what I'm saying? So where people that's following behind this man, they need to really check themselves and really understand the things that are going on in normal ways. Because right now, we have seen a full invasion. You know what I'm saying? And not just an invasion as we see on TV where people come in with military shit and all that. That hasn't even got to that yet, but it's already planned out and ready to go. Especially with Elon Musk talking about he created killer robots. And then you see, well, they have everything planned out within the country where they could use like the swine flu, the H1N1 swine flu virus that they had going on, you know what I'm saying, was under the same premise and was, I believe, was also orchestrated and created in a laboratory and then put on the people, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. Because even when you look at where the swine flu and these different things was coming from, you know what I'm saying, they were saying different ports and all types of different shit that were going on as far as they was concerned, based on ports and all types of shit. You know what I mean? But they won't fool nobody with the swine flu, because the swine flu still is the H1N1. The H1N1, I believe, was created, you know what I'm saying, it was created in a laboratory, you know what I'm saying? It was created in a laboratory, you know, when we look at it in many ways. You know what I'm saying? When we look at this whole shit, that's what we see. The swine flu, you know? The swine flu. They call it what? The swine flu. But it's not the swine. It's something that was created because although there is not a universal consensus, you know what I'm saying, back then, you know, regarding where the virus, you know, originated, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one, you know what I'm saying, they never actually said where it was actually originated. You know what I'm saying? Even the swine flu. But knowing that it was a H1N1 with I guess Genesis or whatever, genus of the avian origin, which is, in other words, they tried to say it was a bird flu. You see what I'm saying? Same thing when he said it was a thumb-sized bat. You know what I'm saying? He said it was a bird flu that caused a swine flu. So that way nobody would be able to really check that whole situation in no shape or form. You know what I'm saying? In no way, shape, or form. How would they be able to check that? Just like nobody was able to really go and check or really give us an analysis of the virus that came from the thumb-sized bat that you call it COVID as COVID. You see what I'm saying? So we know. Yeah, so we know that's what it is. Even when we look at the whole situation, they never originated where that virus first. They said Kansas, the swine flu came from. Then they said it came from the military people. Then they said it spread across the whole global country, all across the world, England, France, Britain, France, Europe, all over the world, the swine flu spreading. You know what I'm saying? They you know, say the consensus never regarded in the matter where that virus originated. It spread worldwide during the 1918 and 1919. In the United States, it was first identified in the military. You know what I'm saying? In the spring of 1918. So we know for a while that had to have been orchestrated. There is no way that was not orchestrated or made in a laboratory in no shape or form. There's no way you could tell me that. You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at the influenza virus as well, you see the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? As to where did these things come from? And again, instead of having the H1N1, this one had the H5N1. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So now we see that coming into play. You see? Excuse me, people. Excuse me. Now we even see that coming into play. A type of influenza virus, you know what I'm saying? Often referred to as the H5N1. You know what I'm saying? Such as the H1N1. You get the picture? You know what I'm saying? It was in humans caused bird flu. You know what I'm saying? In humans, the H1N1 in humans cause bird flu. A virus can affect your upper respiratory tract and lungs, and even spread to other parts of the body, like the brain. You see what I'm saying? So when we look at even the influenza, and it's the same virus. Every single one of this game that they play always have the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Going out trying to perfect these viruses, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? And when you even look at what's the difference between the H1 and the H5N1, the influenza virus has now four, you know what I'm saying, the result in every limited human being to human transmission. You see what I'm saying? And they made it even where this disease can even be transmitted. You know what I'm saying? In the transmission, however, it has an exceptionally high fatality rate of more than 60%, which is a sharp contrast with the 2009 H1N1 influenza virus fatally rate of around 1%, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, and so on. But we know full well that it was caused, and this is a created bullshit virus. You know what I'm saying? Using these birds and these bats and these different lion-ass technique in order to be able to really say this is that and this is that and jumping out of nowhere and everywhere is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And how you know it's all the same, it always has the H in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It always has the hell H in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? These are, to me, stuff that they created in the laboratory, because when you look at even COVID and they say the great COVID was coming and this and that, you see the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The H1N1 again. You know what I'm saying? And many different things in it that they're saying is this and saying is that. And then, you know what I'm saying, but to get it to spread across the whole wide world must have been a hell of a mission, because that mission must have even took it all the way to where they had even passed off these utensils to each country, and each country did that and then send the people out to the public or whatever, or maybe they did it to hundreds of people and it spread and so on and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? Well, however they do their biological move. Nobody here to be guessing any of their biological move, but we know it's a biological move in all ways. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter whether it's 1918 or 1919. You know what I'm saying? So we know that Joe Biden is now using this to weaken the people from inside the country and has everything else setting up on the outside of the country, because he wants revenge, and he no more than a tyrannical tyrant sellout of the United States, because he's mad at the fact that he's a chump, a dummy, a fag, a pedophilia, and every nutcase ass thing that he can think of. And now that he got in a position, he damn sure can do exactly what the Zionists and all these crooked people have been doing to our country, and you can clearly see it for yourself. Even in this report of them going up in people's homes and doing this stupid shit to them. So this tells you right there that this is Gestapo in all ways, because this is what was going on in Germany just before the war. So this is Point Blank saying, stay right, stay tight. We're going to stay in this fight until we get it right. Why?